name is Rowan Hayes Games. Today is part 2 of what would have happened if Lily married Snape. This will be discussing the plot points that would take place if Lily married Snape in Philosopher'S or Sorcerer's Stone. So, the first thing, Snively wouldn't meet Hagrid soon because Snively wouldn't have been with the Dursleys. And so Hogwarts letters wouldn't get intercepted and he would know he's a wizard, so he wouldn't meet Hagrid right away. Which also means in Diagon Alley, he wouldn't be with Hagrid, which means he doesn't find out for the first time about the Philosopher'S/Sorcerer's Stone. But nevertheless, they're still probably going to find out about the stone eventually. So, when Snively does go to Diagon Alley with Lily and Snape, the first question is, what pet is he going to get? I think he's going to get a black owl. And I think the owl's name would be, I don't know, actually. Like Harry found the name Hedwig in a book. So, you know what? Snively is honestly really a daddy's boy like Draco is, so I think Snively's gonna name the owl Severus, like Severus. And okay. And also, I think an interesting thing that might happen before Snively even gets a Hogwarts letter is, I think that he's going to take after his dad again and become an animagus. Snape can turn into a bat, so I think Snively would also want to turn into become an animagus that can turn into a bat. And I just think that happens. Pretty interesting thing. Now, the interesting stuff. Hogwarts. First of all, this is going to be crazy, but I don't think Harry meets Ron. That's because Snively wouldn't be in a compartment with Ron. He'd be in a compartment with Snape. I think that Snape would still be a Hogwarts professor, but I think he would only become a professor and the head of Slytherin house when Snively goes to Hogwarts. So yeah, he still becomes professor the year that Snively goes to Hogwarts. So he doesn't meet Ron, and therefore doesn't meet Hermione, who came by. So the Golden Trio is kind of not the Golden Trio. They're just separate people. Now, when they get to Hogwarts, the question is, which house is Snively sorted into? Gryffindor or Slytherin? Well, Snively takes after his father a lot and is really just a daddy's boy. I think he would want to be a Slytherin like his dad. So I think that's what happens. And I think that Snively is going to become really good friends with Draco. I mean, if you were Draco, would you want to be friends with the son of the head of your house? If he was in the same house as you? Probably. So yeah, Snively and Draco actually become really good friends, and Snively even brings Draco kind of over to the good side, which means he's not going to steal the Remember All from Neville. But even though Snape is a new professor and is a lot nicer person in this timeline, I still think Neville hates Snape. He just, even if Snape was a better person and was a new teacher, I think Neville would still find a way to not like Snape. So when Neville is in flying lessons with Snively, I think what's going to happen is, I think earlier one night, this is just crazy, but I think that's just a slap in the face to Snape and Snively. I think Neville's going to try to steal Snively's owl. I know it sounds crazy, but if he hates Snape for some reason, he might want to get a little payback, which he wouldn't need to get because Snape is actually a good teacher in this timeline, by stealing Snively's owl while Snively's asleep from the owlery. Pretty insane, but I think it might happen. And then Neville is going to reveal that he stole it. And I don't think in this timeline Neville's going to fall off his broom and get the broken wrist. And I think that Neville's probably a lot braver in this timeline without being overshadowed by Harry. So yeah, I think he does that, and then he reveals that he stole Snively's owl. And then Snively shows his insane flying skill, was getting it back, and then Snape sees, and like in the normal timeline, makes the team, the Slytherin Quidditch team as Seeker. Yeah. And then Quidditch goes by, Gryffindor versus Slytherin, and Snape is a Quidditch hooligan. Honestly. So I think he would teach Snively a bunch about Quidditch and how to be really good. So I think Snively easily wins both the Quidditch match, both because of his father's teaching, and I think Snape buys Snively a Nimbus 2000. I mean, why wouldn't he? So yeah, Snively easily wins. But then another big event is Halloween doesn't change too much. Wait, I forgot about one thing. Usually in the Quidditch match, Harry is being cursed off his broom by Quirrell, and he thinks it's Snape that was cursing him. In this timeline, Quirrell wouldn't be containing Voldemort because Voldemort never was defeated yet, so he doesn't go into the terrible form and need to attach onto Quirrell. And either way, even if that did happen, and Snively would never expect his own father to curse him, or would never suspect him. So, yeah. So Halloween is pretty much the same, but instead of Quirrell who sets the troll in, it's Voldemort himself. Yes, I still think Voldemort is trying to steal the stone. But how did Voldemort get into Hogwarts without attaching to Professor Quirrell's head? This is going to be one of the most insane things I'm ever going to say in one of my videos, but I think Voldemort becomes an animagus. Yes, that's what I think would happen. And I think it would turn into a fox. A fox doesn't really represent Voldemort, but it would help Voldemort, like foxes are very swift and sneaky, so could easily get into Hogwarts. Yep. So, the troll, I think, is just defeated by the teachers, like normal, but Hermione wouldn't be in the bathroom, so Hermione wouldn't have almost died. And next is Christmas, which a huge event happens. Since James is not Harry's father, instead, Snape is Snively's father. Snively never gets the invisibility cloak and therefore doesn't find the Mirror of Erised. Okay. So, yeah. But then I still think Snively would find out about a lot of stuff, like the Gringotts robbery and all that, and he'd still, I think with Snape's help, figure out about the stone, but figure out about Nicholas Flamel and maybe even what the mirror does. The Mirror of Erised does. And then, but then, if Harry doesn't have the invisibility cloak, he can't go into the library, restricted section, to read up on Nicholas Flamel and figure out about the Sorcerer's/Philosopher's Stone. And without the invisibility cloak, Snively would need a sign note for a teacher. Oh yeah, and Snively's father is a teacher. So yeah, Snively gets a note from Snape and goes into the restricted section and figures out about Nicholas Flamel, the Philosopher's/Sorcerer's Stone. And everything goes off pretty normal. I just think Snape just is incredibly knowledgeable and gives Snively all the information he would need to get through all the trials and stuff. And then Snively would get down to the new location of the Mirror of Erised, where Quirrell, with Voldemort on him, was in the main timeline, but instead, in this one, it's just Voldemort. And then Voldemort faces Snively and says, "Snively Snape, come to die?" Then Snively looks at Voldemort and says, "I have a different idea." Then Voldemort points his wand at Snively and yells, "Crucio!" the torture curse, sending Snively to the ground in insufferable pain. Then when Snively finally gets up, Voldemort asks Wanda around that. Then Snively swiftly pulls out his wand and yells, "Accio Lord Voldemort!" And Voldemort comes, and then Voldemort is pulled right towards Snively, and then Snively points his wand at Voldemort and yells, "Avada Kedavra!" right to Voldemort's chest, killing Voldemort. Or at least putting him in his terrible form, because he has his Horcruxes. And then his terrible form just kind of zips away. And yeah. Okay. And then if you're wondering, wait a second, how would Snively know Avada Kedavra at year 1? That's because Snape knows the dark arts. So he would probably teach Snively Avada Kedavra just in case. So yeah. That stays the same and all of that, and Slytherin wins the House Cup again. Yay! And yeah. That's what happened in the Philosopher'S / Sorcerer's Stone if Lily married Snape. These are Renee's games. I'm out.